Okay, we are ready for our next great presentation, so please come join us to stage 1, and I would like to introduce Impact Minerals.
Thanks, Sharon. This is what we call a magic lake, and it is located 500 kilometres from Perth in Western Australia, and we call it the magic lake because in the top 2 metres of that lake there in the sediment is something in the order of $15 billion worth of a little known but niche mineral called high purity alumina. And high purity alumina is an important part of the energy transition and also the growing semiconductor industry going forward. And we believe that we are going to be able to transform the production of high purity alumina by digging the material up, taking it to Perth, where we've recently purchased a pilot plant out of administration from one of our competitors in the space, and we're going to take that mud, push it through this plant and turn it into this. And what is this? This is actually the Las Vegas dome, if you're not familiar with it, and that dome is covered with 1.8 million light emitting diodes, or LEDs, and behind every LED is a small piece of artificial sapphire, and that sapphire is a form of high purity alumina. And we believe that the combination of these two projects, the lake and also our pilot plant purchase, will transform by making us the lowest cost producer of this industrial mineral in the world. So as well as being used in LEDs, artificial sapphire is exceptionally used in washers, lenses, defense applications. In the semiconductor industry, it's used to help dissipate thermal buildup in the AI data centers, and it's also used to help polish silicon carbide that is used in those semiconductors, and we're seeing exponential growth in the demand for this mineral. It's also used in electric batteries, in lithium-ion batteries in particular, to stop heat buildup, and we've all seen pictures of the Tesla cars catching on fire, and that's because the separators in there not doing their job properly. So at the moment we're looking at a supply growth of about 20% per annum, compound annual growth rate, and it is actually quite a difficult mineral to make, and so we're seeing a tightening of supply over the next couple of years, and you'll see here we're expecting a supply deficit, or certainly tightening of supply in the next couple of years, and this is when we're hoping to get into at least modest scale production. So what is high purity alumina worth? It's a very high value mineral, and it all depends on how pure it is. We have a benchmark of 99.99% purity, which is called 4N, 4 nines, and that's selling for between 15 and 30,000 US dollars per ton. There is much more money to be made in the ultra pure material, 5N and 6N, but there are not significant volumes here. This is where you build your business, and then you get the cream and the extra profit on top. It's a very high margin, high demand business. And how much alumina do we have? We just published a feasibility study recently, and we have enough for at least a 40-year mine life at a benchmark production rate of only 10,000 tonnes per annum. That's not very much when you consider the production of some other minerals. And this is how we drilled out a total of 15 billion US dollars worth of material with a rubber mallet and a plastic push tube, just drilling into the top 2 metres of the lake. And it comes out looking like this. It's naturally micron to nanometer sized material. And the total cost of that drill program was only about 150,000 Australian dollars. That is the best drill return on a drill program anyone has probably ever seen in the entire mining industry. That is how unique this project is. And so we have a very simple plan. We're going to drive in off the side of the lake 3 months of the year. We're going to stockpile the material, and we're going to drive it off-site, which will mean we'll have also a very low environmental footprint. We will need no power on site, no water. And we already have heritage clearance from the First Nations, and we also have environmental clearance on the lake. This is a superb project to be bringing into production over the next couple of years. So where is the project? We are in Western Australia. It is probably one of the best places to work in the world. It is environmentally friendly, very pro-government for mining. And the plan, as I said, this is the location. We're going to truck the material into Perth, where we have ready access to the chemicals that we need and the workforce that we need to develop and process the material. As I mentioned, we have just completed a feasibility study. We have a world-class team with probably 50 to 60 years alumina experience between them, and we have now designed the process plant, and we're doing off-take agreements and interacting with clients as we speak. So it does have world-class economics, this project. The key figures here are for 10,000 tonnes per annum. We've taken a very conservative sale price. The NPV, the net present value, at a very conservative discount rate is 1.2 billion Australian dollars. If you don't know what a net present value is, that's how much the project is worth right now in the ground. So if somebody came to me and gave me a cheque for $1.2 billion, we would sell them that project and they could still go away and make money on it. So it's a fantastic, this is world class, this is what we came to do. And we also believe that we'll be the lowest cost producer in the world by a very significant margin because of the unique nature of the project. If we look at that in the global context, the current producers are the Chinese and the Japanese. They have very high input costs. This is a cost curve analysis. We've jumped into the future where we see the current producers plus another Australian company I'll talk about, and then ourselves where we're in production. This is the selling price that we've used in our feasibility study, and you can see that our margin here is going to be very, very significant with a very low operating cost. So the Chinese and the Japanese, they have a very environmentally unfriendly, energy-intensive process of making their high-purity alumina, and we have, by comparison, the lowest cost and the most environmentally friendly. This company here, which will have a significant production, is a company called Alpha HPA Limited. They're listed on the stock exchange. They have a current market capitalisation of $1 billion and have been in the game, and they're expanding their production right now to 10,000 tonnes per annum. And we believe that we'll be the next company to reach $1 billion valuation based on the work we're doing. So I won't dwell on this today, but it is actually quite difficult to make high purity minerals. There are many barriers to getting into the business. However, should you get over those barriers, you have created what Warren Buffett would call a moat around your business, and it's very difficult to get across those moats. And so we believe that we have the answers to the 5 problems that you have in this business: purity, laboratory requirements, regenerating your reagents, and very importantly towards the end, engaging with clients and getting off-take agreement to be able to finance your scale-up. So in terms of the purity, dealing with each of these individually, we've recently won a federal government grant of nearly 3 million Australian dollars to work with one of the universities in Perth to implement unique membrane technology into our flow sheet. So membrane technology has been used for many decades in the water industry, but in fact it is now being implemented into the mining industry, and Edith Cowan University is one of the world leaders and have already made some great strides in the lithium business. And we're going to probably revolutionise our flow sheet with this technology. I mentioned that we had purchased the failed assets of one of our competitors in the business. They had progressed to making a pilot plant, and we believe this acquisition is a natural bolt-on for our Lake Hope area. Similar chemistries and similar feedstocks. We purchased a fully functional on-site laboratory. There are only 3 laboratories in Western Australia that can do what we can do now, and we have that privately. We've also purchased a almost complete pilot plant. It's got the capability of producing 25 tonnes per annum. We believe that we can expand to 200 tonnes per annum, which would make us one of the larger producers already in the world. And this plant was nearly 90% finished when the company went into administration. We purchased it along with others for the simple price of $2 million, and we put $1 million into getting that thing up and running. So the biggest thing that we bought is that we bought 2 years in time by buying that. We're now the only other company on the ASX capable of producing commercial quantities of high purity alumina. This is Alpha HPA, who I spoke about. They are currently scaling from a pilot plant up to a commercial plant of 10,000 tonnes per annum. We're now right behind them, chasing at their heels. The thing about the technology that we bought is that it's modular. We believe we can scale up from small production to larger production progressively. That is hugely important in terms of financing the scale up. We believe the plant can be licensed. We can build multiple plants globally, and we've had significant interest from end users in building plants directly for them, which would be run under license. We've got patents granted in Southeast Asia and Europe. We're very close to the patent in the US, which will be the first place that we scale up our production. So moving forward from here, we have a very simple plan. Right now, we're finishing the pilot plant, we're turning it on. By the end of the year, we'll get it up and running, which is going to allow us immediately to engage with customers and start those offtake agreements. We're going to establish a base in North America in 2027 and look for a listing via a SPAC on the NASDAQ in 2027. And we believe that's going to be a huge multiple to where we are currently sitting in the business. I mentioned this company, Alpha HPA, before. 7, 8 years ago, they were like us, market cap of around about $20 million. They're currently scaling up to 10,000 tonnes per annum production, and they have $1 billion market cap and have done for the last year and a half. It's been a tremendous success story. They're only building a plant for a demand of 10,000 tonnes per annum. They've had indications from their clients of a demand for at least 30,000 tonnes of material. So there is no doubt that the demand is there, and if we build our plant, the customers are definitely going to come. So Impact Minerals, we have been listed for a long time. We've been always looking for a world-class deposit. We believe that we have it now at Lake Hope. We actually have very strong support from 2 German shareholders. So Deutsche Balaton is a company listed on the Frankfurt Stock Exchange, and we have a family office of the Munich family from Dusseldorf. I think they're one of Germany's wealthiest families. They've been a huge supporter of us over the years, one of the reasons that we're here, and they've contributed significantly since we got the project a couple of years ago. And look, I'm going to leave it there. We do have other projects. We're one of the largest ground holders at Broken Hill in Australia, and you're going to see a lot of news from us on that, on silver, gold and platinum group metals over the next few months. So any questions, please come and see me at the booth, and thank you for your time. Always remember, Impact Minerals listed under the code AS on the ASX under IPT, and thank you very much for your time and energy.